So you've all heard about that lawsuit that's going on in our real estate industry, right? Oh my gosh, the sky is falling. But is it? Let's talk about it next. Hey, Dave Edwards, Treasure Valley Dave here, your great real estate agent by your side when it comes time to buy a home, sell a home, or even relocate right here to the beautiful Treasure Valley. So today I want to talk about the same thing that all these other people are talking about. Why? Because it gets clicks and stuff like that? Well, no, I want to talk about it because I want to make sure you have some good information to think about so you don't believe all the hype. Oh my gosh, and there's so much out there, right? So let's just get right into it. So this whole real estate lawsuit settlement thing, it involves NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and also some various specific brokerages. And at this point, nothing has really settled. There's been brokerages and NAR that have put forth to the court their proposals, but nothing's been accepted by the court yet. So whoever's telling you anything that they know definitively is this is how it's going to be, they may not be exactly right. So let's talk about some of these proposed changes. Sellers will no longer be able to specifically say in the listing that's on the MLS, the multiple listing service, the thing that that NAR controls, they will no longer be able to put in there a co-op amount offered from the seller to the buyer's agent broker. So in the past, that's been in there. In the future, it looks like that will no longer be in there. That's kind of the crux of what the whole thing is about, as I understand it. But this information, the amount of money that the seller is going to provide to the buyer's agent broker, it can still be out there as public information. There's no secret, there's no hiding it. It can't be on the MLS, but it can be on the broker's website, on the agent's website. It could be on sign writers. It could be, making phone calls to the listing agent to get that piece of information. Now, here's a little conspiracy theory. I don't know if I have my tin hat available or not.
Wow.
Probably won't need it after this year, am I right? Speculation here. Could it be that Zillow, the big game changer that might still be in the real estate industry, could it be that they're going to create a listing service that will have this key information about how much the seller is offering to the buyer's agent's broker? There's nothing so far in these lawsuits that say that they can't be on Zillow. In fact, the proposed settlements are saying that, yeah, they can be anywhere except for on the MLS. So maybe Zillow is getting themselves set up to be like the new MLS, maybe. So what are some likely changes? Those are the proposed changes we were just talking about. But some likely changes are that the media is going to create, or already has, unrealistic expectations and fears in buyers and sellers and agents. And why? Well, it's good for clicks. Pundits are going to be analyzing this. Hopefully you're not putting me in that class, right? They're going to be analyzing this because it's good for views. And apparently it has been, because that's what, well, certainly all the agents and a lot of the people I talk with that aren't agents are always keen on. It's like, oh, what's going on with the lawsuit? I saw this, I saw that. Fannie Willis. Oh, not Fannie Willis. That's a different thing. So another likely change, unintended consequence, maybe, I don't know, is that 30 to 50% of the agents in the business now are going to be getting out of the business. Maybe they're not going to renew when their renewal comes up. It's just too much change. Another likely change is that after the court has its say and its blessing, that there will be a period of, say, 6 to 12 months, maybe even a little bit longer, of confusion, of clickbaits, of pundit views on their videos. Us agents, we're going to get dialed in pretty quickly, but the confusion and unrealistic expectations of buyers and sellers and the public in general, it's going to persist for quite some time. So after all the hoopla of the lawsuit settles down, it looks like it's going to be pretty much the same as what we've been doing or could have been doing all along. Well, what am I talking about? Well, okay, let's go down this road. Sellers are still going to sell and buyers are still going to buy. That's going to happen. This lawsuit's really not going to impact that nearly on the scale that, say, Biden's interest rates or Biden's inflation or Biden's response to the COVID had on our real estate industry. This lawsuit not a blip on the radar compared to all these other things that have been going on. And I'm going to just throw this out there. I could be wacky. Agents are not going to work for free, at least for not very long, I'm pretty sure.
Nice.
So those three things are still going to happen. Sellers are going to sell, buyers are going to buy, and agents are going to work and expect to get paid for the work that they do. Continuing on. So something that's going to stay pretty much the same is that buyers are going to have to sign a buyer representation agreement with the agent before touring a property. And from my experience, this has always been encouraged by the industry and brokers, but it's never been a requirement placed upon the agent to make sure that happens. And many times this isn't done. It's just another form that gets put in when we're putting an offer in on a particular house. But now specifically, it has to be done before the agent can take the buyer out and tour that first house. And the representation agreement, the buyer's representation agreement, spells out specifically what the buyer's agent's broker will be paid. And actually, this is already in our rep agreements. So there's really absolutely no change at all. No big deal there, right? Another thing that's going to stay pretty much the same is that sellers can offer any commission amount, or apparently going forward, it's going to be called a seller concession, or no amount at all. And so the change here is that the lowest a seller could offer as a co-op agreement was $1, at least in our area. And it's different in different places. But in our area, the lowest that they could go was $1. Now it's $0. So no big change there, a difference of $1. So is that what this lawsuit was all about, was $1? Another thing is that buyers are going to have to make up the difference between what a seller offers as a concession that pays the buyer's agent's broker and what it says on the buyer's representation agreement. And really, I mean, honestly, in every way, this is exactly what we already have on our forms right now. There is absolutely no difference in that. And another thing that's going to stay pretty much the same is that sellers and or the seller's agent are still going to have to continue to have marketing expenses. Now, the question is, as always, I mean, even today, the question is, where will that money get the biggest bang for the buck? Is it by marketing to buyer agents that are currently working with buyers who currently want to buy a house?
Wow.
Or will it be buying online ads and hoping that somebody who might want to buy a house is looking at that ad? And I could see perhaps that maybe again, Zillow would be that clearinghouse that agents and sellers could go to put those ads out there, creating their own MLS type of a system. So there's going to be no change at the end of the day. In the fullness of time, there's still going to be marketing expenses to attract buyers to the house that's for sale. So whatever process that looks like may change, but it's still going to be part of the process. There's going to be that expense. It's just sales. All right, so now we get down to my analysis. Ready for this one? So what does this mean really for sellers? Well, let's fast forward past the confusion phase, okay? And then once we get past that, if you are the seller and you offer a low or no amount to the buyer's agent's broker, whether that's through a concession or however it gets phrased, your house may sit unsold on the market longer than it otherwise would. And this is actually happening today. So yesterday I was listening to another agent that's a well-respected agent in our brokerage. We have a rather large brokerage right here in the Treasure Valley. And she had done analysis. She's apparently one of those number people. And she looked at currently we have the co-op amount, the amount a seller would offer to a buyer's agent, and compared how that goes from the standard amount to lower amounts. And then also looking at the DOM, that's days on the market. And there's this very strong correlation between the lower the co-op amount, the longer days on market are. Whether that's by design or whatever, that's just what the numbers tell us. So if sellers going down the road are looking at offering nothing to help, as part of those marketing costs to bring buyers agents to bring their buyers to your house, then the days on market for your house might just be a lot longer. And again, with my analysis, this is just me talking, my opinion. We all got opinions, right? What does this mean for buyers? Okay, again, let's fast forward past that period of confusion. If you, the buyer, find an absolutely perfect house, it's like the only house that will work for you, no other house would even come close. It's the only house you're ever going to consider. And in that situation, the seller is saying, no, I'm not offering anything, or I'm not offering much as a concession to cover your buyer's agent's broker's expense. Then you would have to come up with the difference between what the seller offered and what you agreed to in the buyer's representation agreement. So that would be a thing that you'd want to know about. It's like just this one house, and you might be on the hook for some amount of money to cover the expense that your agent worked for you for. Unless you have one of those agents that say, I only do this for the goodness of my heart, and my kids, they really don't need food on the table as much. They whine a little bit, but whatever.
Wow.
What if, for example, you find 2 houses or even more, that would be just fine for you. It fits all your needs. And on one house, the seller is offering concessions that would cover the amount that the buyer's agent, broker, based upon the representation agreement. And the other house doesn't. Maybe that's a piece of information that you as the buyer would want to know about before you picked which house you'd want to go with, or even before you put an offer in. Maybe you'd still put an offer in on the one that is not offering anything, but you adjust your offer. It's good information to know. It's vital information to know. So what do you think about all this? Did you fall into the trap of, oh my gosh, the sky is falling? Let's just take 1 second. I just pulled up some of these things randomly. Here's an industry Facebook group, and they just have stories on here about buyers are going to expect to pay this new cost starting this summer. And here's what you're going to get from that big old settlement. I heard it's like $7. Here's another one, house hunting in Southern Florida. Buyers expected to pay new costs starting this summer. Oh my gosh. Real Estate Pro says, don't believe NAR. It's all a myth. CNN, the bastion of truth. Realtors Association agrees to drop 6% commission. They never said a word. They don't talk about commissions. That would be against the Sherman Antitrust Act. So I'm pretty sure CNN just pulled that out of their what's-it. The Washington Post, realtor settlement expected to lower housing prices. I don't think so. I think sellers that are just believing the headlines are saying, I'm going to put that extra money in my pocket. I'm not going to have to give that to some soppy buyer. Well, the Washington Post seems to think everyone's going to have a kumbaya moment and everyone's just going to give money back to I don't know who and lower the prices. I wonder if Biden's inflation plan works into this lowering the prices thing at all. I'm going to guess probably just the opposite. And just a quick look over here on Google. Realtor settlement is what I searched. And look at this, truth about the NAR settlement. Sold a home recently. This is what you're going to get. And does the realtor lawsuit settlement mean you're owed money? And you just page after page, it's all the same thing. It's like, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. Oh my gosh, you're going to get so much money in your pocket. If you're one of the lawyers, you might be. But if you're one of these homeowners that were part of this class action thing, not so much. Do you have a need to buy or sell and you're not going to because of you're afraid? You've been buying into all this hype and stuff that's going on? All this uncertainty, you just have no idea? Well, we've gone over the things today. So many of the things are absolutely going to stay the same, meaning sellers going to sell, buyers going to buy, and agents aren't going to work for free. Also, so many of the things that are pretty much exactly what we've been doing all along that we'll continue doing in the future. So if you're like deer in the headlights because you don't know what's going to happen, well, I just kind of broke it out for you. That's what's going to happen. Things are going to be pretty much the same. There's going to be some changes in the process, but at the end of the day, it's still going to be pretty much the same. So you know what? If you have anything to say about this, or you have some questions, let's have a discussion down in the comments, all right? Well, hey, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you on the next video. Hey, thanks for stopping in and learning more about real estate in Nampa, Idaho, and the Treasure Valley. If you'd like to learn more, watch this video here next, or binge on this playlist. When it comes time to sell a home, buy a home, or even relocate to the Treasure Valley, your Treasure Valley Dave team is your real estate expert by your side, helping you get home.